please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Welcome back. Well, that's the SGX Nifty, flat as flat can get. So we should expect a flat opening. We'll let you look at the rates. And before that, we will have to look at another very important result that came in yesterday. At one point, the stock was the cynosure of all eyes, but has since seen hard days. Wockhardt, for the Q1 itself, it has seen an improvement in operational performance, but the overall earnings are still belabored, still weak. Habil Khorakiwala, founder, chairman and group CEO of Wockhardt, joins us now. Good morning, Mr. Khorakiwala. Thank you very much for joining us. Well, first up, if you can take us through what drove the revenue growth. 13% is a fairly decent number. What drove earnings this quarter?
Yeah, I think it was a reasonably a good quarter, 13% growth. Our India business grew by about 30%. There are two reasons for this. One was that last year we had a little impact because of GST, but more importantly, I think in real terms also we showed growth. We also have established a focused leadership for India business with one Dr. Vijesh Gupta joining as president. So that was a reason by which India has grown and will continue to do well. The other is for the US market, we had out-licensed some of the product with third-party manufacturing, and that started coming in and it showed a decent growth of 20%. So these are two businesses which has contributed to our growth.
Mr. Khorakiwala, good morning and thank you for joining us. The US business grew 20% year on year. You said it was mainly third-party manufacturing products that did well. Can you provide more details, and is that a sustainable run rate, the 20% growth rate there?
Yeah, of course. No, it is not only sustainable, this growth, but as more and more products will come out of third-party manufacturing, we should show a healthy growth in the US.
Mr. Khorakiwala, good morning. So again, for India also, the 30% growth was because of low base. What's the guidance for FY19?
So our normal growth should be around double-digit growth. So about 12 to 15% would be a normal growth in the coming quarters.
Okay. Well, just to point out, 68.91 on the rupee. Just keep an eye over there. 69.10 has been visited before. Not a worrisome number. One would want it to depreciate a little more. Well, Mr. Khorakiwala, you know, your company reported an EBITDA profit at the EBITDA level this quarter. What kind of cost containment measures have you been taking?
There are multiple reasons for this. One was our gross margin improved by 1.5%, and that contributed to a better result. Second, I think we are having a comprehensive cost management measure. We also have taken the use of Accenture to do this, and all these where we have brought down our operating cost, and you once saw a positive EBITDA this quarter, and I believe that it will be not only sustainable but it will improve in the quarters to come.
So what is your guidance both on, you know, an EBITDA as well as what kind of absolute margins you can do in FY19?
I would not like to give a guidance, but our gross margin is now currently at around 58%, and we believe it will be maintained compared to last year about 55–56%.
Okay, you started a new facility in Dubai. Are all the approvals in place?
See, this is a new facility which we have created for at Dubai, which is mainly going to deal with new drugs, which are under various stages of development in clinical trial phase 3. Along with the filing of completion on phase 3, we have to file the details of manufacturing with the stability and other data. So it will get approved after the clinical trial is submitted sometime in early 20, and thereafter it will be commissioned.
Okay, what's the update on the drug under development? I think it's WCK 5222. Will it?
This 5222 we are developing the drug at phase 3 clinical trial it is entering, and it is getting manufactured at the facilities in Europe, in Italy and Spain.
Okay, reports also indicated that the company is looking to hive off some assets, such as the company's API plant as well. Can you tell us where things stand currently?
We are not planning to hive off any of our assets.
Okay, Mr. Khorakiwala, what is the update on current US FDA issues at your key plants like Waloj and Chikalthana? And if you could give us an update on that.
We appointed a president for quality on a global basis recently, Dr. Rajesh Kapoor, and we have been in interaction with FDA, and we believe that we would be focusing on one facility at the beginning, which is our biotech facility where we manufacture solid dosage form, and we should be able to offer that for inspection sometime later this year.
Which is this plant you're referring to, the biotech facility?
This is a biotech facility at Waloj facility where we manufacture solid dosage form.
And when do you expect the reinspection?
We are planning to offer this by end of this year.
And has the company closed operations at any of the facilities? You know, as it might be better to shut if you are going to remediate.
No, what we have done is we have suspended operation of one of our facilities to manage our cost for the time being, and we will take a call once our facility starts getting approval, and that is our Chikalthana facility.
Okay, Mr. Khorakiwala, thanks a lot for your time today. That's Wockhardt. The first pre-opening rates are actually quite interesting because there's a bit of a dichotomy between the pre-opening rates and the SGX Nifty. In fact, the Nifty up 45 points. I think a large part of that is because of the initial move in HDFC Bank. That's up. Hindustan Unilever is interesting, 2.5% higher in pre-opening, and of course Mahindra and Mahindra ahead of numbers looks like could start at new all-time high. So looking good right now.
Syndicate Bank is actually down quite a bit. So down, I think, 10% in pre-opening. Just pull up that chart for you. Now down almost about 4%. So that's another stock to look at. And Parag Milk, we were talking about that earlier as well. Parag Milk, I think it's quality is also up. Parag Milk is also up. So let's see. Well, it looks like the market is in a generous
milk of human kindness, I guess. Okay, we have to get back to Rahul Singh, but first some commodity cues as well. Manisha Gupta.
Atlata, well, a second straight day of gains for the crude oil prices, and this comes on the back of the US sanctions on Iran, which start from today, the first stage that is, and the second stage would only come into being by 4th of November. That is when the crude oil would really take a hit in sense of exports out of Iran. So at this point in time, there also is a report from Morgan Stanley which says that Iran will see 1 million barrels go offline from in the fourth quarter itself, and as we have seen, the OPEC members have not been able to keep up with the production. So these are the cues that really seem to be supporting the crude oil prices. As I said, 1% gains overnight, and we are trading 0.25% to 0.5% on the higher side for crude at this point as well. It is the strength in US dollar, though, which continues to weigh on the base metal prices. So almost everything, starting right from copper, nickel and zinc, is trading in the negative. But what is bucking the trend really has been the steel prices. The rebar steel prices in Shanghai are trading at a 6-year highs. There are production curbs, power outages, etc. in China, which have continued to cut steel output for last couple of months now. And this commodity really seems to be taking that as an impact.
Okay. Manisha, thanks a lot for that. The pre-open has now settled. So 75 points higher on the Bank Nifty and 36 higher on the Nifty. Ashwini, just revisiting the index trade, you're not buying here. You'll wait for dip.
But why is Bank Nifty up 270?
No, only 75.
Okay. So don't need to buy here. I think we could test yesterday's high, but the buying zone remains at lower levels. So maybe middle of the day you get that opportunity or you don't, but you should try to buy only on dips.
Okay, well, for now you have a couple of more stocks under a lot of pressure. Avanti Feeds is down almost about 8% post a weak showing. I wanted to go to Rahul for that, but before that, Ashwini, what would your 9-10 call be?
See, I would go with the Jubilant Food, which is a buy with a stop of 1475, target of 1540.
Okay. Well, Rahul, actually, I was also going to ask you about this mid-cap space. You will again tell me that it's a vast space and you can't speak about all stocks. But, you know, stocks like Avanti Feed, people were betting big. It's not quite reported good numbers, but all those chemical stocks, graphite stocks, most of them have done well. If you have to give some lead indicators of how to pick mid-caps, what would they be?
Well, I think the key would be to look at some smaller themes like specialty chemicals, for example, is something which we are exploring. We have continued to like over the last 2 to 3 years. Those stocks have spent quite a bit of time moving sideways, and I'm talking not of these smaller names, but even bigger names like Aarti Industries or Atul and some of the bigger names, as I said. And I think the theme there is pretty much intact, that the China supply constraints are real. Even though the supplies might come up again and get rationalized, I think the cost structure under which the Chinese capacities would now be running would be much higher than what they were 2 to 3 years back. So there is an inherent support to margins for a lot of the chemical companies. And again, like mid-cap, it's a very diversified space. So each company is different. But we've seen some strong results coming in that space over the last 2 to 3 days. And I think fiscal 19, after a lull in fiscal 18, I think fiscal 19 is going to be looking like it's going to be a good year for the chemical companies again.
Okay, we have about 3.5 minutes left before the day starts. Syndicate Bank is still down, by the way, down about 3% after that 1,200, almost 1,300 crore loss that the bank has posted yet again. Gross NPAs have been under pressure, so that's something that the street definitely doesn't like. On the upside, though, Parag Milk is now up almost about 6% odd. Sudarshan, from the large cap space, what would your top bets be in the banking space now? We are once again seeing some follow-on buying, this time from Yes Bank and HDFC Bank.
Well, Yes Bank was my buy list. That's the favorite bank. And the second, surprisingly, State Bank, which is a public bank but comes in that group. So it would be Yes Bank and SBI.
Okay. We are starting on the front foot, you will have to say. I mean, with all the indices up about 0.25% at least. Mitesh, anything on your radar now?
See, I had recommended Yes Bank, I think, yesterday. I still believe that that's something which is very good, and I believe that the stock could head towards 385, 390, and once we start getting past those levels, gets into medium-term buying zone again. So that's on focus. But that about, I think, is the breadth, which I've been very positive upon. So I'll stick to the mid-cap stocks like Balrampur Chini, Joy Corp, etc.
Okay, Balrampur Chini has been doing well. Numbers tomorrow, I think, so that would be an interesting stock to track. Ashwini, ICICI Bank is opening about 1/3% lower. What would be a good entry point here?
Basically, ICICI Bank, any sort of 1–1.5% type correction back towards 305, 307, that should allow you to buy.
Okay, M&M actually is, I think, touching a fresh 52-week high, 940, 943. Rahul, a final question to you. Rural stocks, still the flavor of the moment, of the season?
Yes, like I mentioned earlier today, we are playing it through the FMCG and some of the selective auto stocks. Auto stocks are trickier because there is also competitive issues to contend with, but FMCG seems a much clearer bet on the rural consumption, and we've seen a lot of companies talking about rural growth outstripping urban demand by almost 10–15%. So although valuations are expensive, I think we would much rather play it through FMCG.
Would you touch Hindalco at all, or any of these metal names? I mean, Hindalco, of course, will move up today because of the Aleris financials.
No, that's a space we are staying away with because there are too many uncertainties in terms of the what shape the global economy takes after the trade war and also the rate hikes. So there are uncertainties around Chinese slowdown also. So that's something which we would rather stay away with. I think 2017 was a good year. This year is going to be much more uncertain and volatile.
Yeah, they had 2 good years, 16 and 17, didn't they? Thank you very much, Rahul Singh, for joining us and taking us through your views on so many sectors. We are just counting down to the market opening, and it looks like it's going to be a damn good opening. The strength is coming largely from, Hindalco, not a great contributor to the index, but Infosys looks like it's starting a percent higher. And then there are a bunch of smaller stocks, M&M, UPL, GAIL, Cipla, Eicher Motors, all of them coming back into the green with about 3/4 of a percentage point.